I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. Stop agreeing with yourself. Stop agreeing with yourself.
Hello and welcome to Glass Half Full Reviews, the fanboy optimistic review show. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Love is Strange. As per usual, this is going to be one take and spoiler free. So let's get started. So, the movie is about an older couple, Ben, played by John Lithgow, and George, played by Alfred Molina. They're an older gay couple that live in Manhattan, and so Ben's kind of like a struggling artist, not doing so well. His best work is years in the past. Maybe, he's getting a little bit harder to work with as he gets older because of, his memory and just getting older in general. And George, well, he's relatively younger, but he's not exactly a spring chicken. And he teaches music at a local Catholic high school. So as the movie starts, these two have finally decided, after nearly 4 decades of being together in one way or another, to tie the knot. So they get married. And you'd think, oh, okay, so that's nice, I suppose. Is that what this is going to be about? Not exactly. Because George gets fired from his job because it doesn't jive with the rules and beliefs of the high school. I mean, it was one thing when he was just sort of like, a guy who happened to be gay, but actually getting married, that's putting it in your face. Nope, no sir. So they can't afford their really nice apartment, and they kind of get screwed when they try to sell it, so they have nowhere to go while they're both kind of looking for work. And that means they split up. They're living apart for the first time in almost their entire lives. They've lived together much longer than they ever lived apart. So Ben, John Lithgow, he has to go live with some relatives, a nephew and the nephew's wife, played by Marissa Tomei, and their teenage son. And George has to live with some of their policeman friends, a younger couple, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. They're different lifestyles, there's a different generational divide. Ben is trying to connect with his art, but it's hard for him, and he ends up often annoying the people around him. And George, he's doing his best trying to find work here and there, and this lifestyle of these younger people, it's too much for him. It's hard. So it's these two people who are still in love, but they can't see each other very often, and how difficult it is for them to be apart, and how it's not exactly about how love is strange per se, but about what it does to you when you're connected with someone and then you can't be connected with that person anymore. So it's another kind of indie slice of life type of movie. It just takes place over, a couple months, shows a few events, some important, some not important. And at the end of the movie, it's trying to just tell you a little bit of something about life. I mean, that's what it is. It's not going to be one of those giant movies, but it's a small one. It's just trying to tell a small story about a few people and how they feel about each other. And that's basically it. That's what the movie is about. And in general, I thought it was a kind of a pleasant movie, a nice one, a sort of a lovely kind of time, the kind of thing your parents would probably like. And in general, it's kind of slow moving in a lot of places, so I wouldn't recommend this to people who need a lot of movement. I felt like it dragged in a couple places, although it definitely picked up as it got closer to the final act. Anyway, let's get into my 5-point breakdown.
5-point breakdown.
So, the acting here was very good, especially among the two leads. Now, John Lithgow, Alfred Molina, lifetime of amazing acting between these two guys. No different here. Neither one's phoning it in. They're both doing an amazing job. So we can already just write that off. Both are great. The other characters, they're fine. Marissa Tomei was okay. She was a little shrill. Some of the other people were just like, there's not much to it there. So I wasn't blown away by the acting and the rest of the movie. But these two leads, well, they were great. That's really true. All right, number 2. Now, as I said, the story is kind of just a very simple sort of thing. It's just showing you little bits, so it's about what it shows. And in general, it's pretty good. Sometimes I feel like the particular choices that they show you don't really add anything to the story of these two people. So, I would say the story isn't the strongest, but it's decent. Alright, number 3. One of the things that's nice about this movie is it's filmed on location in Manhattan, and it's done in a pretty nice way. It really kind of helps draw you into the experience there to feel like you're a part of that world. So from that perspective, I did like it. And sometimes you can get very claustrophobic when it's trying to mirror the claustrophobia and fear of these characters. And sometimes it can open up to get a warmer sense of when they're connecting. So that was nice. Number 4. And, sometimes you see a movie and you think, well, that was nice, but that's all it was. And that's kind of how I felt about this. It was a nice movie, but it wasn't an amazing movie. It wasn't great, and it wasn't one of the best of the year, I think. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. But, it was very pleasant. It was pretty decent. So, let's wrap it all up. And I think that it's interesting that you see these kind of movies more and more about older people and different kinds of people from different lifestyles and backgrounds. And I can only say that that's nice to see more stories of that. Just expanding, there are different kinds of people in the world. There are older people who don't see themselves on the screen as much. So it's nice to see that. It's not going to be a movie that's going to make a lot of money. It's just not that kind of movie. But I feel like if this is the kind of thing that maybe you wanted to sort of watch as like a nice old story about some older people, and, it's not a completely happy movie, but, kind of bittersweet at times, but maybe a little bit of life affirming at times, then it might be for you. Otherwise, I don't think so. But that's all for now. Thanks for stopping by.